Scrap your cards in minutes with the brand new, all-to-new Enjoy the Ride scrapbook collection. Join me the second and fourth Saturday of each month for a new Color Connection with Amber episode. In each Color Connection episode, I'll use the color scheme from the all-to-new Inspiration Challenge. This month, we have beautiful coral and greens to work with. As soon as I saw the color palette, my first thought was the Enjoy the Ride 6x6 paper pack and the Ephemera that was just released. There are 24 sheets of paper here, 8 designs, and 3 of each of the designs. Lots of plaids and stripes, also some florals and leaves, and just beautiful colors that I thought would go great with this color palette. If you'd like to get right to the creating, you can fast forward to 1 minute 50 seconds. There are 2 ephemera packs with this release, and one is the Bouquet Builder ephemera, the other is the Blooming ephemera. Both are from the Enjoy the Ride collection. The Blooming ephemera has leaves and flowers that are already arranged, whether that's in pots or bird cages, around a small little camera. So lots of different things that you can use that are sized well, not just for your scrapbooking projects, but also for card making as well. These fit really well on A2 size cards or slimline cards. I loved the little camera, and I end up using that small bicycle. For the Bouquet Builder Set, it's exactly what it sounds like. You have individual flowers and leaf clusters in order to create your own arrangements. These are larger, so they can be great for statement pieces, and then of course for your larger scrapbook pages. So let's get started. So I went ahead and picked out a piece of pattern paper that coordinated with our color palette, and I die cut it with a rounded rectangle die. Of course, I'll have all of the supplies listed down below for you guys, and I'm just going to start with my arrangement. So this is going to be super simple. I have a piece of sticky back fun foam that I'm going to put on the back here. Of course, you can use double-sided tape or anything else, or you could adhere it directly to the card front. And then I'm going to use one of these pots. So this is from the Blooming ephemera, and I liked the leaf cluster arrangement, so I'm going to cover up the pot. Of course, the purple doesn't go with our color scheme, but I liked the arrangement of these leaves. So don't be afraid to use pieces and parts of it. You can trim things off, or like I'm going to do, I'm just going to cover up that pot with my flower. I'll go ahead and curl up the edges of the leaves just to add a little bit more dimension. I've added some foam squares to the back of my flower, and I picked one of the sentiments from the Blooming ephemera pack. I'm going to adhere that down with some wet adhesive, and then also with one foam square at the end where it's going to hang off of the pattern paper, which is popped up. For the butterfly, I'm going to add adhesive only to the center, down the center of the body, so that I can curl up the wings and add a bit more dimension to the card. I'll add some seashore enamel dots. I felt like the center of that flower looked so plain, so an enamel dot finished it off really well. I also like how the enamel dots echo the pattern on the paper. Let's look at our inspiration photo one more time. So every time I see one of these inspiration photos, I can't help but want to just create those stripes in the background. So that's exactly what I'm going to do this time. So I have the All-to-New Artist 24 pan watercolor set here, and I'm using Green Meadows for the darkest green that's at the bottom of the color palette. I started by putting a drop of water into some of the greens in the palette, and then I'll use a large round brush just to pull out that paint onto my glass mat. Here I have a 3/4 inch angled flat brush, and I'm just going to use that to create some really simple stripes. Flat brushes are great to create stripes, especially if you have different sizes of them. It makes it really easy. You can see I don't have nearly enough water and pigment on my brush, so I'm going to keep adding water, get a little more pigment until I get full coverage. Of course, you could do more of a distressed look and leave some of those white areas in there, but I wanted some really solid stripes, and I love that deep color. Now I'm going to mix the lightest color from the color scheme. So I have some seashores, I'm using a bit of white. I'm also going to add green hills because I wanted it to have a little bit, lean a little more towards green. And then I'll add some purple to dial it back because that green hills and the seashores are really quite bright. And I wanted to dial it back and make it a little more muted. So I've added a little more seashores to get a little more of that blue-green back, and then I'll add more white and more purple to this mixture. Once I'm happy with the mixture, I'll go ahead and paint that on with the 3/4 inch brush. And this time I'm going to do twice the size, or even a little bit more than twice the size of the stripe. For the coral color, I will use Red Sunset and a little bit of Warm and Cozy just to warm it up a bit more. Add a little more orange to the mixture, and I'll paint on that stripe. That will just be the single width stripe, the 3/4 inch stripe, and I'll make it a little bit darker. I'm going directly into that Red Sunset pan to make it a little bit darker, and then I'll set it aside to dry. I picked out a sentiment and the little bike from the Blooming Ephemera set, and you can see that I've die cut the watercolor piece with a rounded rectangle die. My stripes were straight in relation to each other, but not to the page, so you can see that I needed to shift the die in order to get the stripes straight on the page. I popped up the watercolor panel and the ephemera with foam squares and sticky back fun foam, and then I added some seashores enamel dots to finish off both of these cards. The enamel dots do give you some wiggle room. They don't completely adhere until you press them down, so if you just drop them onto your project lightly, then you can still move it around with your craft pick or your tweezers or a jewel picker tool. Here's the finished card with the bike. I love how the bottom edge of that watercolor stripe almost looks like grass. I think it creates the perfect backdrop for this little bike scene. I hope you guys enjoyed these projects today. Super simple to just pull some cards together really quickly with the scrapbook collection. I have all of the supplies listed down below, as well as a link to the Inspiration Challenge. Link up your projects on the Inspiration Challenge blog post, and also hashtag us at AltaNewChallenge.
Hello crafters, I hope you enjoyed that video. If you want to see more, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything. Thanks for watching!